Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2019 Porsche 911 Carrera S. Now this is part of the start of the 8th generation 911, given the internal designation 992 and launched early this year. It's wider than its predecessor and now uses aluminium body panels. On the underneath it has McPherson front suspension and multi-link rear suspension, and part of the whole styling ethos of this car is to merge older styling from previous 911s with more modern styling, and part of that is by giving all models now have the wide rear wheel arches, which initially used to only ever be part of the all-wheel drive variants of previous 911s. And I think that's helped make this car look a lot more handsome, quite frankly. Now that the wide rear wheel arches are part of every car, they will all look just as good as each other, quite frankly. And gives it a bit more presence than a previous Carrera S, which didn't have those rear wheel arches. And the styling continues to the rear as well, where it's got a full width rear tail light, which I think is really rather good. Not a massive fan of the brake light in the centre of the engine cover there, but yeah, that's the only real major problem I have with this car in terms of styling. And the interior is pretty good as well. It's got a nice little wood trim, mixed with obviously the aluminium, your plastics, your leather and the like, and got a big centre screen there and two 7-inch screens either side of the analog tachometer. So yeah, nice blend of classic and modern there, and all that's obviously helped by all the stuff underneath, not just in terms of suspension but also in terms of engine. Now unfortunately, like previous modern 911s, you can't actually see the engine, which I think is a big shame, because this is after all a sports car, and a big part of a sports car is the engine. So to not be able to see it is a bit of a disappointment. But what isn't a disappointment is the figures from that engine, as it produces 444 horsepower, 391 pounds-feet of torque from a 3-litre twin turbocharged flat 6 engine. Now granted, that's not as big as an engine as the previous Carrera S, which had a 3.8-litre flat 6, but that not only managed to produce 395 horsepower and 325 pounds-feet of torque. So because of those turbochargers, it produces a lot more power and a lot more torque, and being a smaller engine obviously means it's a little bit lighter than it would have been otherwise. And because this is the all-wheel drive version, which is the Carrera 4S, this is lighter than that as well by 110 pounds at 3,340 pounds. So yeah, even though that all-wheel drive version is going to have this licked for a launch and initial acceleration to 60, this is lighter, a little bit more nimble, and probably a little bit more responsive as well, not having that all-wheel drive system, especially in terms of front-end grip and steering. And I really do like this car. I'm not completely sold on the styling, but I know I like it, and I certainly know I don't hate it. So that's pretty much a first for some modern Porsches, because the likes of the Cayenne, the Panamera and the Macan haven't really sold me on their styling, but yeah, I'm on board with this fully, quite frankly. And like other 911s, it's also quite practical. As you can see in the rear there, you've got plenty of room for the rear seats, and you've even got a decent sized boot up front. So which isn't too much to ask, quite frankly, from a modern super sports car. So it's pretty much can do everything. But to see what it can actually do on the open road, we're going to have to take it out onto the Great British Road. So let's get out there and see what it can do. So yeah, with this having two turbochargers on it, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be doing with a 911 turbo, or whether or not there is actually going to be one, because the 911 turbo used to be the only version of the car with turbocharging, but now even the Carrera S has turbocharging, which is generally considered the bottom rung of the 911 range. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. But as far as bottom of the range goes, this is pretty damn good, quite frankly. Acceleration wise alone, it's pretty phenomenal. Beats certain cars that are probably even more expensive than this. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.8 seconds, and going to a top speed of 203 miles an hour. That's pretty much supercar territory, never mind sports car territory. So yeah, phenomenal performance from a car that doesn't even have 450 horsepower. And I guess part of that is down to the fact that it doesn't weigh all that much. again aided by the fact it doesn't have all-wheel drive. Now granted, the all-wheel drive system will be more beneficial in a day-to-day basis, because obviously when it comes to rain or snow or ice or anything like that, it would be more beneficial, and it's certainly more beneficial in terms of 0 to 60 acceleration time. But quite frankly, I don't see how it would make it all that much better in terms of handling, because the front end grip on this is really rather good anyway, and without the all-wheel drive system it feels, well, I can't say that it feels more nimble, but I doubt the four-wheel drive system is going to feel as sharp and as nimble as this. Certainly don't think it will be as direct as this, but it would be interesting to see what the all-wheel drive version is like in comparison to this. But with that all-wheel drive system, there is obviously compromise. Granted, acceleration would be better, but weight would also be more as well. And yeah, unless obviously the power has been balanced properly, it might well understeer a fair bit as well. Understeer really isn't a problem with this version though, as you can see. And yeah, it does make for quite a fun drive, to be honest. The engine, it's not the best sounding flat six they've ever made. Personally prefer, you know, the GT cars in terms of their flat six sounding engines, because they rev way higher than this, and yeah, sound a little bit better. But considering it does have turbochargers on it, it could sound a lot worse, and to be honest, I can't really hear them. They might not well be that high in terms of boost, because, you know, this has only lost 800cc over the previous Carrera S. So yeah, the turbochargers aren't going to have to make up for that much amount of extra power. And yeah, I think they've done a grand job with it overall, to be honest, styling wise, engineering wise, and just in terms of pure driving fun. So yeah, as a basis for more, you know, powerful versions of the 911, you know, more lightweight versions, more track orientated versions, I think they're onto a winner with this new 911, quite frankly. And I look forward to seeing, well, if they eventually do versions of them, but the GT2, the GT3, and maybe even the Turbo. Be interested to see what they can do with you know, this chassis and suspension setup and general body, because yeah, I'm really rather enjoying it. And I seem to have gone off-road, but that's just how much fun I'm actually enjoying the car. It doesn't really matter where you are on this game with this car, it can pretty much deal with it, and yeah, be fun in the process. So yeah, this is a part of the car pass, obviously, and yeah, there's also another Porsche that will also get a review that has been released this week along with this car, though it is a little bit older. It's nonetheless no less exciting to drive. So yeah, look forward to reviewing that, and yeah, I highly recommend trying this car out. If you haven't got the car pass, then get it already, because there are several great cars that are already part of it, and there are several great cars to come as well. And yeah, this is another great one in the car pass, quite frankly. And yeah, Porsche have hit it out of the park pretty much, quite frankly. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.